Welcome to Confident AF Live, taking your mindset next level to get next year's results today with me, your host, Brandon Foster. Are you a badass peep with big dreams, ready to turn your unrealistic goals into reality? Confident AF Live is the gateway to enormous new opportunities and unlimited possibilities. The unrealistic can suddenly become realistic for you if you believe it. Are you ready to take your dreams and results to the next level? Then stay tuned as we help crack open the door to new ways of impactful thinking and believing about yourself with mindset practices for badass people like you. Confident AF Live starts right now. Hello, boo! Welcome to another Confident AF podcast episode. I'm just delighted you're here and you're listening. I would really love if you all are not following me on Instagram or Facebook, do that at Brandon R. Foster. And will you just comment on a random post and be like, hey, listen to your podcast while and I want to know what you all are doing while you listen to my podcast. Are you picking the kids up from school? Are you driving? Are you cooking dinner? Are you, I don't know. Are you having some chips and queso? Like, what are you doing when you listen to my podcast? I'm just curious, completely random. Today, we're going to talk about how to improve business relationships. And this is something that, again, I don't feel like the mindset community talks a whole lot about. I feel like so much of what mindset is people talk about is they talk about transforming their mindset. But part of transforming your mindset to help your business grow and receive all the blessings and do really good work in the world with the gifts God's given you is learning how to treat people right. And that's a mindset. Working with people is a mindset, because I will tell you right now, I am not a perfect human being. In fact, I actually had to apologize to people recently that I love and adore, because my intention, everything I did was great, but I'm just a human being. I am not perfect. And my husband knows this very, very well. But I really feel like the more you understand people, and more importantly, the more that you understand yourself and forgive yourself and practice self-love, the more love, the grace, and forgiveness you forgive other people. And I feel that when you have people and they know that you love them and support them, want the best for them, that comes back to you. And you need the people to help grow and scale your business. Like when your clients love you and adore you, you get these massive referrals. When your team loves and adores you, they will be in the trenches with you. They will work hard with you, and they'll have a good attitude about it. When vendors know and partners know that you love and support them and it's genuine from your heart, they will also bend over backwards to help you and support you and encourage you and cheer you on. So I feel like this is such an underrated topic in businesses that we have to do a podcast episode on it. So I'm going to talk about 7 ways to improve your business relationships. If you want a good book to read about just how to treat people, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People has always been a favorite of mine. I really love that book. Let's go through the 7 reasons. The first one was actually, I saw it in a random Facebook post, and I can't even remember which one of my friends said this, but it was their dad that said it to them. And it was, treat the person as if they were the CEO. That made me think a lot, because how many times do we get frustrated with something small in our business and we blow it out of proportion and we go to someone who is the assistant or lower on the totem pole? We definitely don't treat them like the CEO, and we don't give them the respect of a human being. And sometimes they're learning. Sometimes it's not in their wheelhouse and their skill set. Sometimes it's an honest mistake, but because of our own insecurities and because of our own judgment, we don't treat them with kindness. And so for me, that was like a big thing. So I want to challenge all of you for number 1, treat everybody you encounter, even if it's the barista at Starbucks, even if it's the person taking your order at McDonald's, whoever you run into in life, treat them as a CEO and treat them with respect and gratitude. I think that's going to change a lot of different things. Number 2 is remember that when you forgive other people and give them grace, God forgives you. Now, there's like 12 laws of the universe, and one of the laws is the law of connectivity, or the law of one. And I feel like that is why the Bible talks about this so much. And I talked about it in the last podcast episode too, but I've been experimenting recently with literally asking almost every day, okay, God, who has hurt me that I need to forgive? What am I judging myself for that I need to forgive? And sometimes, and this might sound silly, sometimes I even say, God, what am I believing about you that I need to forgive? And it's not that God needs forgiveness. It's just that I don't understand why certain things happen and my perspective is warped and shifted. So it's like, if you're always seeing some stuff through the lens of disappointment, you can always find it. And so part of it was like, I forgive you, God, for disappointing me. But really what I was saying was I forgive myself for viewing God as a disappointment and as disappointing me, and wanting to shift into seeing all of the good, the abundance of good that's happening in my life and business, which is a completely different lens. And so remembering that when you forgive other people, you're forgiven is truly one of the best things you can do for people. I also believe, just so you know, I'm in an amazing, amazing high level business owner, founder, mindset mastermind. And one of the things they instilled in me with like team members is, number one, to give grace and forgiveness, but don't allow behavior or the mistakes to be repeated twice if someone didn't learn their lesson, and don't let it be hidden, which is really interesting from a business perspective. Now we're going a little bit into boundaries and how boundaries can be set in love. But the idea behind those two things was, number one, if someone hides a mistake, it can become a disease inside of your business, and it can get way worse. Think about like a small leak in a pipe, but as the leak continues, it can get worse and worse and worse till the whole pipe explodes. And then the other one is, if you give grace and forgiveness to someone and they make the same mistake again, then are they really committed to learning and growing is the question. Because you can't run a business and have people making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. So I want to be clear on that, because we should forgive, and we should forgive people, and we can give people second chances. But I do think there is times when we still forgive them, but we don't give them the opportunity to hurt us or harm us again. And I think that's the biggest difference that I want to echo. Number 3 is when something doesn't sit right, that a vendor, a partner, a team member, a client, whoever in your business, if something doesn't sit right, that was an action or behavior that someone did, instead of you judging the person, because we talked about this last week, forgive the judgment, ask with curiosity why they did it. What was the thought process? What was the reason behind it? Because everyone has a reason, a line of thought of why they do something, but you're never going to know what the line of thought is until you ask what it is. I'm going to give you 2 really, really silly examples. So one is Universal Orlando, because my husband and I own a travel agency, Magic Land Vacations. So shout out if you want amazing people to plan your vacation. My team is absolutely incredible. And now is the perfect time to plan for summer and spring break. But my husband and I love Christmas at Universal Orlando, and we love their holiday VIP tour, because you get to meet the Grinch, you get to meet Santa, you get to have cookies, you get to have like a private showing of the Holiday Grinch show, and you get to see the Hogwarts castle light up at night with the holidays showing. Like, it's our favorite thing ever to do. So a couple years ago, the parade used to always be included in this VIP event. And then last year was the first year it wasn't included in the parade, once the parade had returned, because it wasn't there for a while because of COVID, but it wasn't in there. And the reason why it wasn't was because they were doing all this construction for Minion Land. So there wasn't as many places for people to be in that holding area where they normally put people. They needed it for regular people. So no big deal. The way the VIP tours were set up, you could choose a later time so you could watch the parade and then go meet up with the VIP tour. Well, for whatever reason, like This year, all of the times start at like earlier in the day, and the parade is at 5:30. So all the VIP stuff starts at 5 o'clock. The parade's at 5:30, which means if you do the VIP tour, you can't do the parade. And that's one of the best things about Universal Orlando holidays, like one of the absolute best things. So I love Universal. I'm sure they have some kind of really good reason, but I don't understand it. So I could have called and been really mad and really angry and really upset. Instead, I literally just called and said, I love Universal. I love the holidays. I love the parades. Is there anything we can do and why? I'm still waiting to find out. But regardless, I love Universal. I think they're amazing. And I love the holiday parade. So I'm not sure what the answer is, but that's just a really good example of like a small thing you get really upset about and why. Like Universal wants to do a good job. They care about people. They listen to feedback. I'm sure there was just some kind of slight disconnect. Another great example would be when I was a hall director at Texas, not hall director, I was a resident advisor at Texas A&M, and a group of students took like a long piece of rebar, like huge rebar, and they dropped it from the top of the 4th floor staircase down all the way to the 1st floor staircase. Could have killed somebody, like didn't think through the process at all. And I love my hall director because instead of just like yelling and screaming at them, he pulled them off to the side and was like, okay, I have to document this. I have to write you up. There's going to be a consequence. Regardless of that, I just want to know, why did you all do it? And the answer was classic for a young person who is not thinking things quite all the way through, which was, we just wanted to hear what noise it made. That was it. That no concern for safety, no thought process of how it would be interpreted or if it could hit somebody else. It was just, we wanted to see what it sounded like. So when something doesn't sit right, always ask with curiosity, why did you do this? What is the thought process behind this decision? And if it really hurts you, you can always be honest and say, this really upset me and here's why. And then ask, what happened to this person for them to think that this was okay, as opposed to what's wrong with them. Asking someone what's wrong with you or what's wrong with your company is never helpful, ever. Like you're going to get in a battle, you're going to get in a war. Like it's just never good to do that way. Number 4 is when you hear about a mess, pray for everyone to be blessed. So I don't care what business you're in, travel, agency, high ticket coaching, real estate, it doesn't matter what entrepreneurial pursuit that you have. So important. At some point, you're going to hear rumors about people, and not every rumor is good. And the important thing for you to remember is that there's always 2 sides to every story. And the best thing for you to do is remove yourself from the mess. Because if you stay in the mess and you ask more questions, now you're inviting yourself to be in the mess. You don't want to be in the mess, boo. All right. So the best thing for you to do is when you hear rumors, distance yourself from the mess and ask for everybody to be blessed. Because even the people, if you hear a rumor bad or negative about someone, even if they do something that is wrong or is bad or morally harms other people, whether that is copyright law, copyright infringement, behavior, it doesn't matter what it is. People do things either if they know intentionally that it's wrong because of fear and lack and bitter and anger, so negative emotions, or they just haven't thought it through. It's like they mean well, their intention was well, but like that's just not appropriate behavior, and they don't even know what they're doing is wrong. And so I just encourage all of you to just, if there's a mess and you hear about the mess, remove yourself, choose to think the best of everybody involved, pray for everybody to be blessed, and ask for God's love and grace and forgiveness to heal everybody in the whole situation as quickly as possible. That's the best thing you can do for everybody. And then that way, if whatever reason you ever do get involved in a mess, then people are doing the same thing for you. Number 5 is don't fight your own battles. Let God do that for you. So I had a really good relationship with someone we were co-workers in a certain respect. And the CEO found out that this person was bad mouthing me behind my back, saying not very nice things. And I still love this person. I know this person has an incredible good heart. I know, like me, I've said things that I regret, and I'm sure they were going through some kind of tough time. So we pray for them to be blessed. And I still love this person. I would hug this person if I saw them. But what was interesting to me is I had been thinking about how God, the universe, protects us much better than we protect ourselves. Because think about it. Do you and your humanness want to try to protect yourself when you have your limited resources and capabilities, or do you want the whole entire creator of the universe to protect you? I think we both know the answer to that. And what was so interesting is that I didn't hear about any of this until after it had already been resolved and that person was let go. And it was like God just took care of the whole situation for me, and I didn't do anything. And that was like a really big eye-opening moment for me, and a really, really big, amazing blessing. So number 5 is don't fight your own battles. Let God do that for you. Number 6 stems kind of the same way for this, which is, do you want to be right or do you want to be at peace? Do you want to be right or do you want to experience joy and freedom? I think freedom and peace are so intrinsically aligned. It's not even funny. Like, I feel like the freedom of peace means no worries. And I feel like being at peace means you're free from the worry. So there's a lot of times, specifically with my amazing husband, where we wanted to be right about something. And the cost of us wanting to be right and arguing with one another, it just never ends well. Like, it just doesn't end well. You can ask someone's perspective, you can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, do you have to like verbally bash someone that you disagree about it? You know, sometimes it's better to just let it go and not let it take away your peace. I feel like that's something that in American politics and in American society, I really wish all of us as human beings would practice being peacemakers instead of being divisive. And I wish we would focus on looking at everybody through the eyes of unconditional love and asking why we believe certain things and how we can help one another, as opposed from judging one another and hating and pitting against one another. It really hurts my heart. All right. Number 7 is affirm and praise the people in your life with gratitude, appreciation, and love. So one of my friends, Megan, I can't remember her last name, but she is the queen of business ops. She has this amazing framework for leadership. We are coaching our team called the 6A framework. And I love it because a big piece of this is affirming over your team members good things. And I feel like we should do that for everybody. I feel like we should affirm for partners our appreciation, a good job that they're doing, and here's the thing. Why do we make it such a big deal if someone's not perfect that we have to judge them, beat them up, make them feel like shit, when really we could just say, hey, you're doing such an amazing job. I would really love and appreciate it if we could do this small tweak and let's make this better together. Like, that's just a completely different energy when you approach someone that way. And I am not perfect at that, but I've gotten so much better, and I continue to get so much better at that, because part of it is we can feel guilt or shame if we don't like something. And so because we feel guilt and shame that we don't like something that maybe a partner or a client or a team member does, instead of addressing it, we feel guilty and shame that we're not appreciating them and that we have to just like take it. And then what happens is we let that behavior, whatever, like erode more and more and get us more and more frustrated. So then by the time that we do bring it up, we're so mad about the topic and you've never told them about it. And so they're like, where is this coming from? Like, I thought you loved everything I was doing. And it's like, no, I haven't liked it at all. It's just now the straw broke the camel's back. It's that kind of energy. So I feel like it's really, really important, number 1, to be honest in your relationships. Like, my husband and I went to a new Italian place near where we live. Food was not very good. And to be honest, it wasn't very well kept or clean. And my husband has a big issue with that because, I mean, if you respect and love your restaurant and it's clean, then you know the food's going to be good, because if your restaurant's not clean, then how can you, like, everything is kind of a sign of your love and respect for yourself and what you do. It's why I really have noticed that a lot of luxury homes and like luxury places, they have very minimalistic like furniture and things and not a lot of knickknacks. And I feel like a big piece of it is because a cluttered space is a cluttered mind. And I feel like they want their mind to be free, so they have less things, is what I've noticed. It's really interesting. So we went to this Italian restaurant. He didn't love it. And the person comes by to ask, how do you love the food? And he did what I do and what we all do, which is, oh, it was fine, or it was good. And it wasn't. And it's like, okay, so we, looking back on this afterwards, I was like, wait a second. We weren't honest. Like we lied to the person, and like, they can't fix the problem if you're not honest about it, right? Like you can't make something right. You can't make things better if you're not honest about it. And later on, you know, like we've all done before, I'm guilty of this too. My husband is like, so I have this really awesome negative review. And I'm thinking to myself, a negative review can't be awesome. And I looked at the review and like everything was truthful. But when you go to a business and you just lambast them and leave a negative review, do you really want to help them? Or are you really just pissed off and trying to hurt them? I honestly think 99.9% of the time, people are just trying to hurt the business. And it was at that point that I decided I will never leave a negative or bad review for any company. Instead, what I will do is I will engage in honest conversations and ask them, number one, are you willing to listen to my feedback? And number two, are you willing to change what you're doing? So looking back on that, I wish when the person came by, we just said, you know what? We were really excited to come here. Not really impressed with the food. We just don't think it's that good. And see how they respond and see if they fix it, because everyone deserves a chance for grace, forgiveness, and a second chance. Happy to go back to the restaurant and try again. But I feel like we don't always do that. So make sure you're affirming and praising. Remember, what you give out always comes back to you. That's the other thing, Mike, because I also thought, what happens if I didn't do a very good job training one of my team members and they make a mistake, and instead of allowing us the opportunity to fix it, they just blast us on social? Like, that's not helpful. It goes back to the whole reap what you sow. And I think sometimes we think that like we're victims when we actually are just reaping what we sowed many years before. And now we're back to forgiveness. So forgive yourself, forgive the people, forgive all the things, and affirm and praise with gratitude, appreciation, and love of everybody that God brings into your life to support you, support your business, and all the things. Remember, my book is coming out, Confident AF, Unleash Your Inner Badass. That is coming out in February. I don't want you all to miss this. You can actually follow me on Instagram at Brandon R. Foster, or you can follow me on Facebook, Brandon R. Foster, and you can see a whole bunch of different posts about the book and the countdown. Really excited about it. And thank you all so much for listening today. Next week, we're going to talk about the power of planning, which is something God is really working on me this year, moving into 2024. So I'm sure I'll have more clarity this time next year, but I've learned so much. So I'm going to share with you next week what I have learned. And if you all have any additions about planning, I would love to hear that. So we will see you next week. I love you. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. You have been listening to Confident AF Live, taking your mindset next level to get next year's results today with host Brandon Foster on transformationtalkradio.com. Listen or watch live every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, where I help badasses like you with big dreams learn to take their impact and results next level, turning those unrealistic goals into reality. Confident AF Live is the gateway to enormous new opportunities and unlimited possibilities. For more information, get in touch with me, Brandon, at brandonrfoster.com.